War Eagle Auburn family, welcome back to another edition of E2C Network Live. This is a live recording of the flagship podcast of the E2C Network, the Auburn Experience, with myself, Kyle Lewis, and my good friend, Austin Scott. Austin, welcome back.
Thanks, War Eagle, everybody. Glad to be back on another Sunday night. Another Sunday after a Saturday football game.
Another
All
Sunday
that
after your
entails.
rival suffering.
A great weekend of college football. And glad to be hanging with everybody tonight.
It really was a good weekend, all that kind of stuff that we're going to hit on some of in the podcast tonight. So we're going to save a lot of those juicy discussion points for that. I think we've got a pretty well-rounded and unique show for you all tonight. As a reminder, if you are watching this live or on the replay, this can serve as your viewing, your listening to that podcast every week. We obviously do post that on a traditional podcast format every single week as well. It's also exclusive to our YouTube folks. We don't broadcast this onto Facebook, onto Twitter. We reward you guys for being here and being part of the YouTube channel for watching this. But tomorrow we will have the audio up only. So at the first 5 minutes here, we're about 2 minutes in, we'll just take any comments or questions that you might have. So pop in right now, normal check-in period, post where you're watching from, city, state, international, with a War Eagle. Thank you, Ron, for checking in. We'd love to hear from you all, hear what you, maybe some quick questions and comments that you have about. I will be staying a little bit after, even though it will be late, just to hang out with you guys a little bit more. I see a lot more fight now. I think Harsin stays. We're talking a little bit about that. We're not going to spend a lot of time, if any, even talking about that in the podcast. Maybe that's we're kind of moving towards saving that for next week because we are in the middle of a bye week. Austin, would you care to share any insights? Not insights, but just opinions about that situation?
Sure. Yeah. I think Certified Cobra there has a good point that there's a lot more fight and some offense we haven't seen so far on the year in bunches. What does that say about Auburn? What does that say about Ole Miss? All that can be up for debate. Ole Miss still hung 450 rushing yards on Auburn, which is something
Yeah,
you
they
just
did.
do not see very often. More fight. I don't necessarily think it means Harsin stays. That's up for debate as well. And there's a whole lot of rest of the year to be played too for that statement to be ring true or false.
Right.
So, but yeah, I personally I did not get to watch a lot of the game myself, but kept up with it and everything, and then got to see a little bit after the rain delay. So, um, pretty crazy game. It was not. I don't think a lot of people were expecting that kind of outcome, but pretty fascinating, and hopefully it is something for the future. Hopefully, Robbie Ashford, I wanted to say grew up, but matured a lot in the game in
Yeah.
his development and playing style. I thought the offensive line had a decent game, and the running game was going. So hopefully, it is something that carries over into future games down the stretch. But we'll have to see.
Absolutely. I mean, I think it is what you make of it at this point. There are people that have chosen that their side, that they are dead set on seeing Harsin gone, whatever that means for Auburn. There are those that have chose that they're going to be, on the side of staying with Harsin no matter what. I don't think that it's wrong necessarily to find yourself in those camps, but I would caution folks to find themselves not in either of those camps if you can. Maybe swayed one way, lean one way more than the other. But I think right now the biggest question should be on everyone's mind is what's best for Auburn. And we had some similar conversations like this during the Harsin investigation, right or wrong, about what he had to
Right.
go through. Is this a tenable situation? When we talk about what's on the football field, like I walked away from it. I think most of you saw the post-game show, and we in the room as well. Our chat room was a lot more positive than I thought it was going to be. So
Yeah.
That's a sign of the times, right? That we're that satisfied with some frustrating things that happened, but it's also shows you where we've come from. That there was some things maybe to be excited about. I
Yeah.
don't know.
No. Absolutely.
You're I thought this was going to be an hour early. Yeah, we had to push it back. That's going to happen from time to time. So we apologize for that, Devin. But great thing is, Oh, you were going to miss it. Now I read it backwards. I thought you said you were going to have to miss this recording now. But here, look, it all worked out.
It worked out. Yeah.
Yep, it did. Let's see. My nose is really itchy all of a sudden. Maybe I'm getting sick, and I don't know. You ever get like just like
Uh-oh.
this weird feeling
Yeah.
right there on the end of your nose? Um,
It's flu season.
Donovan says, it's probably our best safety currently. I honestly don't know what's going on with Papo. Keontae Scott, DJ James are actually our best corners right now. Help me real quick, and then we'll probably take this and then move on into the podcast. Your thoughts on Owen Papo, because the people's opinions about this are all over the place. Like if you pay attention to just Twitter, Owen Papo is, the worst
Lost. Yeah.
football player ever, the most overrated 5-star. But if you actually talk to people who seem like they know what they're talking about, they're like, nah, he actually showed up and did what he did. Where do you fall on the Owen? Because I honestly don't know where I fall on the scale right now with Owen, how he's performing this season.
Yeah, I haven't watched him just like kind of solely him on a few possessions in a while, but I think linebacker is one of those spots where you that don't hear their name as much sometimes, and that they're just doing their job, and that's kind of the grunt work. I think with some of the offenses Auburn's played, that's been the case, but then also you've seen guys like Cam Riley who've had a 15 tackle day, and we hear
Mm-hmm.
about them, and they made an impact. We haven't gotten that from Owen, so he's been through a lot of injuries so far in his career,
Right.
at Auburn, and I think that might be catching up to him. I just don't really get the whole, because I've seen it too. The whole he's the most overrated 5-star ever. Because like, yes, he was a 5-star, but we're now at the point that was 4 years ago. Like he's developed
Right.
way past that, and
Well,
for better or worse, um, that's not really how we need to label him anymore. And so he's a captain on this team. I definitely still think his role is massive,
mhm.
whether it's showing up in the box score as much as you like or not.
Well, and that's the thing is I've noticed that he's been the top tackler for the last few games. I don't think it was this game. I haven't
Right.
looked at the stat sheet yet, but for the last couple of games, he's been the top tackler or number 2 or whatever. So it's just interesting. Conversation that I see two extremes again on. I'm not really finding a lot of people in the middle ground on it. And
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out where I land on that because I see him still showing up in the stat sheet. I think a lot of people get too focused on the fact he's a 5-star. Stop focusing on the stars, people. I don't know what I'm gonna have to do to like knock it into people's heads. Doesn't matter
Yeah.
if you were a 5-star when you came in, if you were a 5-star when you came out. What matters is what you did in that space in between there, what you accomplished. And I think Owen, in his body of work, is accomplished a lot. Has he accomplished what we thought he would this season? I don't know, but that's the beauty of football. Look, you just got to go out there and
Yeah.
play, and the chips fall where they may, and then
And
we
you
can
could
all.
say that about any of them. Have any of
Yep.
them accomplished what they want this season? I think all of them would tell you no, because they've lost 4
Yep.
games. And so at the end of the day, they're just as disappointed. But like you said, we're not gonna get too into the game this weekend, and we'll save that for the bye and assess where we're at.
Right. So, yes, Corey, you have not missed anything. We are just about to hit the record button. So, most of you all know, well, the record button is technically already on because this is a live stream. But most of you who are veterans know you'll be our advocates during the stream, that we will probably not be taking too many comments or questions or addressing them. Sometimes we might if we feel like they are appropriate or just kind of fit into what we're talking about. But this is a recording for the Auburn Experience podcast episode 8 episodes, Austin. It's been a minute.
That's
We're making our
crazy.
way down to
That is
8.
crazy. That means 8
It,
weeks, which is pretty
it
wild.
does. It does. All right. Well, we will get this thing rolling here, folks. Thank you for watching the live recording. And stick around after. Austin will be leaving, but I'll stay around for just a few more minutes afterward. Here we go. And 3, 2, 1. David Housel said it best: the whole of the Auburn experience. It includes so many great sports programs, even sometimes a frustratingly confusing Auburn football program that decides to give you hope, dash it, and then give you hope again. But it also includes many other things like a volleyball program on the rise right now. It also includes sports that don't belong to Auburn when you see your biggest rivals take a big old L on the big screen and just love every minute of it. It includes things outside of sports, academics, people in the town, people outside of the town. It includes people young, old and young. I should have done that backwards. Old and young. Hint, hint, wink, wink about what's coming up in a little bit. It includes so many different things, and that is why it is the whole of the Auburn experience, which is always best taken with those in the Auburn family, which is why I bring my co-host here every single week, Mr. Austin Scott. Thank you, Austin, for being back with us for episode 8.
War Eagle Kyle, yeah, episode 8. Can you believe it? 8 weeks we've been doing this, and thanks to everybody who keeps on listening to us, crotchety old men, ramble about whatever we find to ramble about each week. But glad to be back again. And you said it best: Auburn Experience can encompass a whole bunch of things, whether they're directly related to Auburn or not. And we've certainly got some of those things going around today.
We do, absolutely. And we're going to try to give you guys a little bit of I like to call it the palate cleanser of everything that you are experiencing with being part of the Auburn family. We're not going to probably be spending a lot, if any, time on the football team outside of just some allusions to other topics that we'll hit. We'll save that for probably episode 9. We are in the middle of a bye week. So there's really just kind of a time to sit back and reflect, and maybe we'll have some clearer, more deeper assessments of all that when we get around to episode 9. On this one, though, we usually talk about what's hot, what's kind of the most prevalent thing going on right now. And this is kind of fits into that realm, what I want to discuss here. Because as we talked about, the Auburn experience, yes, it's about the sports, the place, and other things beside that, but it's mainly about the people, old and young. And some of the best things in life are raising people up into being part of the Auburn family. With that being said, Austin, is there anything that you would like to share with us?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. And my wife and I are expecting twins
Woo!
coming to April.
I wish I had like a
Class of
strobe light right now.
That's right. Drop the confetti, drop the toilet paper. Two hopeful class of 2045 Auburn graduates.
Oh my gosh.
Which is a long way away, folks.
That hurts
Long
my
way
head to think
away.
about. Austin,
2045.
I will be, oh my goodness, hold on. I'm trying to do math in my head right now. I will be 50 something. Do math for me. I can't do it.
Yeah, I'll be 59.
Oh, wait, I'd be
No,
60s
no,
then.
that's not right. My math off. 49.
Okay, thank you. I thought my math was off, but apparently yours is much worse tonight. But hey, listen, you're having twins, so I think we will forgive you for that. So congratulations, Austin.
Thank you. Yeah, my wife Emily and I are very excited. She's due April 20th. It'll likely be earlier. Big surprise to both of us that there's 2 of them, but we are just overjoyed. And it's definitely something we've prayed for, and just thankful to the Lord for His blessings to us in so many ways, but especially this. And so, yeah, we're excited. We are just going in head first, know nothing, and we're just going to figure out how to play man defense from the get go.
It's really funny. You think about it that way. You guys are first time parents of twins. Like that. How do you even wrap your mind around that? Like that's. I'm sure there's people that have done it thousands of times because I know you're not the first ones to have twins the first go around, but you're gonna have twins of Austin Scott. Like that's just gonna be crazy. Like double trouble of you. Emily, I know is just the best part of you. So
Yes.
2 of you is just gonna be a problem.
We need, the easy thing to say would be the kids are 50-50 of each. We need like 70-30 with Emily being 70 and Austin being 30 of each of them. Because yeah, we're all in for a wild time if that's the case. But yeah, we'll know genders here in a few weeks, and we'll definitely have to talk about that. But it is a whirlwind and a roller coaster, but we are very excited.
Well, I didn't want to start this podcast without us addressing that and maybe talking a little bit about some stuff related to that. I got to know this. How quickly into you finding out that you were having twins did you start figuring out what sports for Auburn they were going to play. Like, I know it crossed your mind. Which sports were they, and how quick? Obviously, we don't know genders yet, but listen, hey, in
Sure.
this enlightened period, we're going to have, girls and boys playing football together. So who knows?
Yeah.
What are the sports that you instantly thought of, and how long did it take for them to be labeled as an Auburn Tiger in your mind?
Yeah, sure. I think, like you said, who knows what sports are going to be around on and sponsored by Auburn in 22 years or 18, 20 years. Um, I love basketball. I do not have the physical. I know people listen to us mainly unless they're watching us on YouTube live, but I do not have the physical stature of football. So
You are a little
that
bit
one
on the
was,
short side.
I'm a little short. So that one was ruled out pretty quickly. But with that, we know Pearl loves his undersized point guards a little bit more, so that would be the
Yes.
best. If Coach Pearl, or maybe by then Coach Stephen Pearl, who knows, is
Mm.
could coach basketball in the Neville crypto digital arena we'll have by then.
Oh, wait, whoa, whoa,
Uh,
whoa, whoa. Did you just throw crypto on top of Neville Arena? Listen, folks they're losing their minds that they can't call it Auburn Arena anymore officially. Don't start some rumor here. We've already ruined the season for volleyball. Don't ruin the basketball
yeah,
season before we even get started. That is not an official statement from Auburn basketball or Auburn. There's no crypto associated with Neville Arena. My gosh, Austin, this is what I'm talking about, where these kids better have all Emily.
yes, all
Anyway,
Emily. So who knows by then? And then I did think about our volleyball program. Obviously, we're on the start to a dynasty here that we've
that's
already
what I think.
jinxed to begin. And so, like we said, I'm on the shorter side, so they have to be a libero or a
Yeah.
defensive player. But yeah, who knows? And Coach Johnny Harris might need a point guard by then too.
Listen, that's the funny thing about this is, right now, just in general, we all need to be praying that yes, they get Emily's genes, but they get, if there is anything locked in there for height wise, just for
Oh yeah,
sports in general, it opens up so many opportunities for
oh
them.
yeah. Emily's
But
shorter than I am, so we're not going to have
that's
the height.
that's why I said there's got to be something
Yeah,
locked in there for her. It's funny sometimes, like Yao Ming's parents are just completely short and he's just a
yeah.
giant. So it's like, how did
That's what
that
we need.
happen? So maybe we are talking about the next center, men's or women's basketball player at Auburn. That's what I'm going to hope for, because basketball is my sport. I love
Yes.
football to death. I will choose that over anything. But in terms of just an overwhelming love for the game, that's why when we started the E2C network, it was an all-in-one show. We started breaking out into individual podcasts. We did a basketball one first because I love basketball and I love talking about it. So that is what I'm hoping and praying for, is a men's or a women's or both times two edition. It'd be pretty sweet, Austin. I'm not going to lie. If you had a boy and a girl twin and could just give one to each. And then what a
Right.
cool story that would be. I can just see it now when
Oh
we're in our
yeah.
50s doing episode 4000. That, we're talking about your kids starting each at the same time on the men's and women's team.
That'd be cool. I mean, Auburn women's basketball has the history of Jasmine and Jessica Jones from a few years ago, starting at the
Yeah.
same time on the same team. So yeah, but either one, I think a boy and a girl, that's definitely something that would get some storylines if they could both start in the same year on the same team, and that'd be cool.
How quickly will, obviously we're in the beginning stages of this. So all this is said with the hope and prayer that everything goes well and all that stuff,
Amen.
acknowledging all
Yep.
that. But let's just believe and be optimistic about all that. What is the timeline? Like, how quickly are you going to be taking a photo with these kids on Sanford Lawn after they're
Oh
born?
man. So there's already, and I have a picture on my Instagram that at Austin G Scott. We already have a onesie each, with one with Aubie's face and one with an AU on it. And so even that is the picture that I just can't wait for. Is the each in their Auburn onesies. This, and now, folks, this is April 20th is with the due date. They're likely coming earlier because of twins and how the medical procedures work. And so, I mean, there's a great chance that we have an Auburn basketball national championship shortly before or after or on the same day as the two come into the world.
Wow, you heard it here, folks.
You heard it here. And
He's
so
calling his shot.
if that's the case, they're in those onesies ASAP. We're starting them out right. But as far as you said, Sanford Lawn, I mean, that's going to be just the wallpaper of your phone forever, right? Like that's the
Right.
picture you want of both of them on a beautiful day, spring day. So
I'm trying to
it'd be pretty soon.
I'm trying to pull this up without like showing everybody. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do it. This is like one of those moments where it's like not great for a live recording. I'm trying to get my wallpaper up without it. It's not going to work. But I basically have Sanford Law or Sanford Tower on my phone. I could just like see your baby being held
Yeah.
up right in the.
Yes, exactly.
Anyway, we wanted to make sure, obviously, because it's important to you, it's important to the show, it's important to your E2C Network family and your Auburn family that we talk about that. So we would just want to extend our congratulations further to you, to Emily, and our prayer is that this will go exactly how it is supposed to go, and we will be celebrating this with a national championship, apparently, in just a few months.
Yes. Thank you so
So
much. And I know Kyle, you reached out when we announced publicly and you've known for a little while, but I'm incredibly thankful for Devin reached out as well. She's a loyal listener, and I'm thankful for people's well wishes and prayers, and just our ultimate goal and hope and prayers that these two learn to love Auburn, yes, but we want them to learn to love Jesus Christ so much, and we are blessed. Here's my weekly plug. We are blessed to live on the loveliest village on the plains, and thankful that is a reoccurring theme around here of preaching Jesus, and so that's what we want for them more than anything, even if they don't play in Neville Crypto Digital Arena.
there you go again. We had a great segment until you bring that back again. Now I got to deal with the ramifications of that later on this week. But before we create more drama and make people think that it's being renamed again, let's move on to our next subject. And we're going to talk about something that is probably as far as you could stretch it out into the Auburn experience and how it fits in there. Because yes, we are focusing on our world, our sports, our teams. But let's be honest, folks, the most visceral sometimes and probably overly important is watching the suffering of your greatest rivals, namely your best rival. Because I got to tell you, I've been to the Appalachian Mountains. I've been to Gatlinburg, Tennessee. I've driven around Neyland Stadium, and I got to tell you, there ain't nothing better than good old Rocky Top, Tennessee, taking down the Crimson Tide in all their glory. What a beautiful game that was, and just conjured up all time of feelings. And that's what we kind of want to talk about here. So, yes, is it petty? Yeah, I don't care. We're talking about it here in this part of the episode today. Rocky Top, Tennessee topples the Tigers for the first time in what, 16 years, Austin?
16,
is that what
16 years, which is just unfathomable. Like, I can't believe that. I can't picture Auburn going that long. Like, this state would be in shambles if Auburn went 16 years, or let's say either one. If either one went 16 years without beating the other, uh, I can't even imagine what that would do to some people. But it was incredible, and you will have plenty of Alabama fans tell you, well, what did Auburn do today? Well, that should be even more of a reason for you to enjoy this, because it has not been the best year Auburn's been hoping for, and that was a nice glimmer of hope right after a tough loss on Saturday. It was incredible to see, and how can you not like that? It ended right before a game-winning field goal was another Alabama kicker missed field goal. I mean, that's kind of poetic, and that's what we enjoy more than anything. And so they rushed that field, man.
did they rush that field?
Covered it.
Let me just say this. I messed up apparently and had a misspeak about as well as a kicker for Alabama does. Apparently, I said they toppled the Tigers. That's been happening a lot lately. I meant toppled the Tide. I think we all understood that, even though that was applicable to how the football team's going right now. We're not talking about that though. We're talking about how amazing it was to watch them just get a little bit of comeuppance from someone other than us, other than it's the interesting thing that's happening right now is we, as part of the Auburn experience, have been living in a time that is unheard of. And it affects so many things where your biggest rival is having arguably, debatably, their single most successful run. And that's still weird to say considering Bear Bryant's in their history as well. And having to, sit there and bear the burden of all of college football, like every year, people will just wait
Yeah.
for Auburn to do the magic that they do in Jordan Hare Stadium and take them down. Did it in 13, 2017, and 19. I got them all right? For Gus.
Correct. Yeah, that's right.
Obviously, almost happened for Brian in his first year, had it not been for a Heisman Trophy winner making a game-winning drive. And, however many overtimes, I keep forgetting. I think I blocked many of them out. But we're seeing more teams getting to the point where they can compete with Alabama. And it's not just us doing it. We've had Texas A&M take them down. We've had Ole Miss in history take them down. Talking mainly about the Saban era, obviously. And now we've got, I'm sure I'm missing a few there, but we've got Tennessee finally getting back in there and making this thing a little bit interesting, because let's be honest, Tennessee fans, we've been carrying the weight for y'all in terms of the rivalry games, because we all know most teams have those two rivals, us is, Alabama and Georgia. I think we've got the hardest rivalries in college sports. I'm just going to say it. I think we can say that right now.
Yes.
But Tennessee, y'all been, what's been going on, man? Like, y'all been slacking. And so it was finally like a weight was off our shoulders to be like, okay, at least the other rival is now actually a rival in a sense. And it was a beautiful thing to see. So I guess the big question is, how do you think what happens after this? Do you think this is sustainable for Tennessee? Is this a one and done thing? Or, have we reached the point where Tennessee is back to be able to compete with Alabama like we have in historically?
Yeah. I mean, I think it looks like this is Josh Heupel's second year there. It looks like he's got kind of a system that seems to be exciting and works for them. He's getting his guys in there. I think the thing that had to happen for them to kind of break through is it had to be the way it was in Neyland Stadium in Knoxville with a just plethora of people, and it had to be that back and forth game, and that's what they got. And now there's the monkey off their back of, like we said, 16 years of them just hearing about it every year. We all saw the memes every year. Here's what the iPhone looked like last time Tennessee beat Alabama. Here's what I looked like last time Tennessee beat Alabama. Now that's gone. It in a way, and I don't love this analogy because I don't love the significance of it, but in a way, it's similar to Georgia finally getting their championship. They heard 1980 for forever from Auburn fans, from everyone else, and Tennessee can finally put that away from the Alabama side. And so I think I don't love when people say that, oh, it's so good when certain programs are good for college football, like that's what makes it, because what I love about college football is that anybody can beat anybody, and we all get shocked just when anytime. When Gardner Webb is hanging with Liberty this past weekend, well, we're all still interested in that, and it doesn't matter who's been historically fun. But I do think Tennessee has the brand that it's good to see some SEC turnover. And so I hope so. I hope it's fun. I love when Auburn plays Tennessee. I think that's a fun rivalry.
I miss that.
I do too. And I think we're going to get back to seeing those more now that we change these schedules around and get to see teams more often. Like, heaven forbid that a kid would get to see another school once every 4 years. I'm just glad we're getting there, and I think that'll be good. And so, yeah, good for Tennessee. We talked about it, Kyle, together. When they rushed that field and the excitement that they had, how could you not think about what the scene looked like in Jordan Hare in 2013 after the kick six? Like, you couldn't find a patch of grass in that
right.
picture.
Oh, well, apparently a Tennessee fan found a patch of grass and took it home. I just saw a picture of that before we went live.
Good for them.
Well, I shouldn't say a patch. I should say like a sleeve of grass. They just took it up and like threw it into some bags they have. Some really funny tweets going around about that. I was cackling about that. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because that's one of the things that I just kind of was sitting there and tweeted on my personal account. Just, and I mean this sincerely, like for them and for like just the whole, it just made me feel the smallest bit like I felt so many years ago during the kick six, being there and knowing what that moment of elation felt like. Yes, it is because it's Alabama, your biggest rival, but that's in any moment like that, just seeing how something so miraculously goes down and rushing the field on just sheer joy. Austin, I remember just finding this random dude in the middle of that monstrosity of a mass of people. And just like we locked eyes, and I just pointed at him and said, "You right there, you bring it in right here for the real thing." And we just ran into each other's arm and just hugged it out just forever. And like for no reason, never saw the dude again, probably never will see him again.
Yeah,
But it was just one of the craziest moments of elation. And you saw the sights of that and then tearing down the goalpost, taking them out of the
crazy.
stadium. Did we get confirmation that they did not throw one of them over the side like they were looking like they were going to do? Did they take them
I
just out?
I don't know. I saw they threw one in the river.
Yes.
I was apparently that is has I haven't looked this up, but I saw some people say that has some historical significance, like they've done that before. But I was just shocked when I saw we went through all that and you're chucking it in the Tennessee River.
Mhm.
Because like when Ole Miss beat them, one of those first years with Freeze, they tore him down, and you saw it, like, you saw pictures, they got it back in someone's apartment, and they're cutting it up, and they're giving it to their friends and everything, and so that's what I'm expecting, like, I think it's a lost art to tear the goalpost down, like, I think that is something that we see, like, really old pictures of people
Right.
hanging on, they fall, and so it looks like it's coming back a little bit,
Yeah.
but I could not believe they just chucked it in the river, like, is it just gonna
It's
lay at the bottom of the Tennessee River?
Listen, folks, listen, we are happy for you Tennessee fans, but God, y'all a weird bunch. I mean,
I don't
come
yeah,
on, y'all
did
bring
you think this through?
mustard bottles, throwing your goalpost in the river. Look, I love the enthusiasm. I'm glad you're happy. I'm glad you took down Alabama. Maybe you can keep it up. I don't know. We're wanting to see you again, but God, y'all are weird, man. Y'all sing about Rocky Top. It just it's an interesting breed of folks, and I'm sure they say the exact thing about me. But
Sure.
you know, again, it's not our game, and in this season that we're having, it's not necessarily the you know thing that helps us in any way other than just watching the sufferings of our biggest rival. But it is certainly something that we all live a part of because it's college football. And like you
Yes.
said, we all have memories in the past of goalposts going down all the time, and it's a lost art. And seeing the elation from people, the rushing of the field, the fireworks going off. I remember them doing that for the kick six. It just brings back those memories and just makes you relive it again in your mind in a different way than just kind of saying, "Oh yeah, I was part of the kick six." It's like, no, that was me,
Yeah,
2013. It's such a
exactly.
surreal feeling.
I mean, there's been so many pictures that have come out of whether it's some college kid hanging off the goalpost or, the elderly Tennessee fan who's probably just, am I ever going to see Alabama lose to us again? And just unbridled joy on the field. And I just hope folks, let's rein it in here to Auburn maybe somehow. Just remember that it's the game. It brings us so much joy, and that's so fun. And just remember that it's just a game, but it can certainly give us those feelings,
Mhm.
and we enjoy that if we keep it in perspective. But yeah, good for them. That was a crazy scene.
Wonderful moment full of elation and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and thousands of dollars of fines, but was it worth it?
So many,
It was so worth it. Uh,
absolutely.
all right, well, let's move into the final segment. We'll begin discussing another Auburn sport that we are slowly but surely gearing up for
That's right.
in many ways, and it's about time. We are ready to have shooty hoops back
Shoot,
in shooty hoops. I've seen that on the
I
Twitters.
like that.
That's not, I can't take credit for that. I think I'm trying to remember who actually it is. I feel like it's one of the bigger
Shooty
Twitter
hoops.
accounts kind of coined that term or made it popular. But Auburn Shooty Hoops is very quickly going to be here before you know it. We're November 12th, I think it is. George Mason. I know George Mason's the first official
7th.
game. 7th. Is that it? I'm sorry.
I only
Um,
know just because I got Emily and I got our tickets this past week, so we'll get to be there for
yeah,
the
I'm
first time. It's
excited
like on a
for it.
Monday night. It's
Yeah,
very odd on a
it's
Monday, but
That's been happening a lot lately. I've noticed that. You would think for the first, listen, there are things out of control for that Auburn can and can't control, and sometimes it depends
sure.
on their schedule, George Mason's schedule. But you'd think you would like have that on a Friday night, ready to
Yeah.
roll the night before a big like Arkansas. I know that's too early, but either you
Sure.
understand my point.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, but it's here. So one of the bigger things this past week too, is we had Auburn's Pro Day, and it's a little bit different. I feel like I've not had the opportunity to go to Pro Day. If I had lived in Auburn and had actually been there, I would have probably been able to go to it actually. Um, my understanding is that, like, for football, when they have their pro days, it's mainly intended for people that have graduated and maybe even people that have not been for a while to come back and get looked at by scouts. But this was interesting because at this pro day, we have everybody currently on the team competing. And I don't know if anybody
Yeah.
else came back to kind of get those looks at by the scouts, had invitations from Coach Pearl and the staff. 28 NBA teams, all of 30, arrive in Auburn to watch our athletes. Austin, may I remind you, a few short years ago, this was not even a reality for one of these teams to probably come. Yes, scouts came, obviously, but not to this extent and not to this level. Like,
Yeah.
how far we have come was displayed in the interest, not just by fans, but by NBA scouts for Auburn basketball's program. It's a beautiful sight to see.
Oh, absolutely, and it's just another notch in the belt for Bruce Pearl of what he's done with this program and the heights he's brought it to. Um, things that it's unfathomable even as we're in it to see something be a reality for. But I think it is so fascinating that they do from freshmen. If you just got here on campus, if in the summer, all the way to, I don't know if anyone did come back, but all the way to our 6th-year seniors at Jasper, you're contributing in pro day,
Yeah,
and that's great. I think that's awesome for scouts, even though we'll say Chance Westery I guess you can go to the draft even after a year, but even if he's 2 to 3 years away, they can see some say, like, we're going to remember that kid. He's got some
right.
potential. He's got the ability. We'll have to keep checking in with Coach Pearl to see where he gets. And so I think it's awesome. I guess the magnitude of the amount of people for football doesn't allow you to do that as well. And it would just be, a couple days thing instead of one. But um, I haven't really looked at the measurables of Pro Day to see how everyone
Right.
did.
I haven't
Um,
done that much either.
but I think it's fascinating that 28 of 30 teams came. I don't know if, how many came last year or the year before, but I just, like you said, the thought that even one would used to come, and now that many just have an interest because Auburn has arrived on that national stage, and Coach Bruce Pearl has come to Auburn and made it that national stage. Um, is just incredible. It's hard to think about.
It really is, just to kind of put it to words, because all of us have lived through the Barbie eras,
Oof,
the bad
oof.
part of the Lebo eras, and I hate it for Lebo because there was a moment there where he seemed to kind of be getting it figured out, and it just never stuck, and so I do
Yeah.
hate it for him. But we all know how bad Barbie was, and I
Oh,
know stories that I cannot share. It was much worse than anybody else even were aware
it's
of.
awful.
And that comes from people directly on the team. That's not me
Yeah.
saying I know a friend and knows a friend. That's someone who was there, witnessed it all, and that's all I'm going to say. So it has come a long way. And with Pro Day, just some quick thoughts about it and maybe things. It seemed like Alan Flanagan really measured out well, graded out well for them, which is a great thing for here. I've said this on my personal Twitter account that I am making it my mission to put respect back in Alan Flanagan's name. Now, that is obviously his job to do more than mine, but I will definitely be tooting that horn as loud and proud as I can because I love a good redemption story. And not that he's fallen so far off. He's just, the main thing is this injury and trying to get back from that and find your place
Yeah.
in a team where you come back and there's superstars galore, Jabari and Walker, and they're still stars. And your supposed stars that we're going to have in Janai and Yuan and Chance and everybody else that's already still here. Um, it's one of those things that I'm really happy to hear those things because I think people forget that about some of those players, right? You could say it
Yeah.
about Zep Jasper as well, who actually wasn't able to participate in Pro Day because he was sick. But they do the things that get noticed by the scouts and not by the fans, or they have the measurables that get noticed by that. And so that's what this day is all about, is not necessarily to win a draft spot. It's to, or a combine invite. It's to get you in the conversation with these NBA scouts so they can give you feedback and say, if we were to be interested in you, this is what we would need to see from you. And
Mm,
so that's a really big step. When Coach Perot really, we have the press conference up on our channel. If you'd like to watch it, go back and listen to how he talks about that. This is not a make or break moment for these guys, but this is simply the first opportunity for some of them
right.
to get feedback that they really need to understand what their opportunities are and aren't to get better. And boy, do we have a lot of talent on this team. I mean, who do you think right now obviously stands the best chance of going in the draft high right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think, and you mentioned it. It's time to put respect back on his name. But Alan Flanagan was showing up in draft before his injury, and even when Auburn fans were wondering why he's still getting starts, like Alan Flanagan was showing up in second round and late first round at some point. So I think Allen, with another great year to kind of put his full resume together, has a chance to be drafted.
Mm.
I think from there, you look at you're not looking for Janai Broom to exactly replicate what Walker Kessler did. I mean, how can you ask a guy to just come in and say,
Right.
"Hey, do you want to be SEC Defensive Player of the Year?" Um,
National Defensive Player of the Year too.
and yes, thank you. And national defense, and even Yohan, are you going to ask him to replace Jabari Smith, who should have been the number one overall pick or win no Magic?
Some teams are regretting that. Let me hold on. Since you brought it up, and now I'm just going off on things tonight. The Orlando Magic, what are you doing? You had a chance to literally win the
Mm.
biggest, the best fan base over to you forever by bringing together Chuma Okeke and Jabari Smith, and you failed. What is your problem? I cannot for the life of me understand how you think that Pablo Banchero is going to bring you more attention, more notoriety than the entirety of the Auburn family, literally attaching themselves to that. Matter of
Mm.
fact, this is going way too much into it. I'm a huge Disney World fan. I'll just say it right here. I don't talk about that a whole lot. You want to talk about that? It's in Orlando. I would literally probably move there at this point if I could have Chuma, Jabari, and Disney World all in the same all three of those things in the same place. I am done. Sorry.
There's our weekly crotch deal man rant. So we had to get it in somehow. Um, I wonder, were they one of the teams that showed up? I'm sure they. I mean,
I
odds
didn't.
are they were one, but
Yeah,
I don't know
probably.
for sure.
Yeah, I'm
But
not sure actually.
I'd be interested to see if Coach Pearl and some staff made any side comments like, "Well, you guys,
It's like
you
you've
missed
got
out."
these seats set aside for all the teams, and then you put the Orlando Magic way over there at the end. Just think about what you did. You think
Yeah,
about what you did.
you're in timeout. Yeah, but I don't know where Janai Broom. I think he has a chance. He's coming from Morehead State. He's on a much bigger profile. He's going to be in a system that allowed Walker Kessler to do what he could do. Um, and so I think he has a chance with a great year. All these guys have to produce. Like you got to execute. You still got to play. Just because you come to Auburn now and Auburn has that national recognition doesn't mean you're just going to get drafted because of the name. Like you have to still execute and play and win some games, um, and do it well and do it consistently. So I'm really excited. I think this is just a great team. I think it's going to fit really well together. I'm just pumped. I'm pumped. Is there anybody else you see that I didn't name that has a good chance
No,
of
no,
getting
no.
in the draft?
I think you hit the biggest names there. My hope obviously is for Alan Flanagan, Janai, Yawan are the biggest ones that are probably going to be getting a lot of attention. But
Mm,
the great thing is, we had guys like Dylan Cardwell putting their names in the draft because they can and safely come
right.
back out after they get assessed, and really kind of getting some feedback that way too. So really, this is nothing more than just an excitement period. In the grand scheme of things, right now for Auburn's season and for their futures, it doesn't mean a whole lot because the season will determine more so of that. But this was the first stepping stone for them. It was the first stepping stone for us to begin to talk about some of these things. It gave opportunity for Coach Pearl to kind of talk about what he's seeing so far through preseason practice. Because as you pointed out, we are, 2 to 3 weeks from the recording of this episode from the season starting. And, there's an exhibition before that. So for those of you that want to dismiss the football team right now, you shouldn't be doing that funny, but you are going to have something hopefully to make you very happy here very soon because basketball is going to be here for the guys, for the girls. I'm excited for year 2 for all of them and just hope that kind of takes the next step for the women's program.
Absolutely.
Shooty Hoops is back. and well, not officially yet, but very close to it, and I couldn't be more excited about it.
Oh, it's gonna be great, and I think a lot of people are excited. Ever since Coach Pearl got here, it's been something people have started to look forward to earlier and earlier. And with the exit from the tournament last year, are excited, and
Why
that's
would you
good.
bring that up? Why would you bring that up?
Because we know what we need to build on, and we're ready to
You,
make the national
we had
championship when the Twins come to World, and we're ready to go.
we had a good thing going until you brought that up, and now I'm sad again. Thank you.
Well,
Thank you for
I
that.
just want everyone to be excited and join me in Neville Crypto Digital Arena when we play Georgia.
Did stop. All right. That's it. We can't do this anymore. With that being said, that is episode 8 for the Auburn Experience, and we appreciate you guys riding along with us to talk about baby announcements. Just reveling in the sufferings of our biggest rival and looking a little bit forward to the beginnings of basketball season. On your way out, please do make sure that if you're interested about something that we talked about here that you want to expound more upon, if you're listening on the podcast, especially, hit us up on our social media accounts at E2C Network, or if you want our personal ones, you can find me at Kyle Loomis 24. Austin, where can they find you?
At Austin G. Scott. Please come check it out. Please come look for that picture of the onesies. It's pretty cute, I must say, and we'll definitely have to get a Sanford picture up there at some point.
You committed to it now, live here, and
Yeah,
we don't take these things down. So listen, it's got to be done at this point.
That's right. It's on record.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in to the Auburn Experience, and we appreciate you spending some time with us. Until then, War Eagle.
War Eagle, everybody.
All right, that was episode 8. Thank you guys so much for sticking around. We're going to say bye to Austin because he is having twins and he is tired. So
That's right. I didn't want. Is Corey still in here?
did you? What'd you got?
He asked right before we went live on the recording what happened in the old ROTC buildings, and I don't I don't want to insult anyone here, but the old ROTC buildings for someone else might be older than I'm thinking of ROTC buildings because they've always been in the same spot that I know of. But it's definitely something I can try. I don't know where they were originally, is what I'm asking.
Yeah.
So I'll see what he says. But I mean, the ones I know of are by the Village.
Yeah, that's what I know of. He says
Okay.
yes.
I'm sure. I'm okay. I'm sure there were some somewhere else at one point, maybe pre-Village, but I don't know which ones he's talking about.
That's beyond my time. So, well, that's your homework, Austin. Do some research on that.
I'm into that. I usually for Auburn history, I just go ask my dad, and he usually can remember that and point it out.
Well,
but
plug for Clint Richardson. He's usually good for that stuff too.
True. We'll get him on it. I was going to see if he replies, but we'll wait. And thank you, Devin, again. Devin did reach out to me on Twitter when we announced twins, and I greatly appreciated her well wishes.
We are excited. We are very, very excited. I've always liked the idea of having twins someday. You like the idea of it, but then you're about to have the reality of it. That's going to be the fun part, is you trying to navigate that in life, just being a new parent, but double trouble, man.
Yeah. We always said the same thing. Emily's grandmother is a twin, and so we knew it was a possibility, but here it is. South side of the stadium, just haven't had time to go over there. Is that the same spot, Kyle, or am I?
They were on the south side of the stadium. I'm thinking right now.
Northeast corner is student section. So
right.
I would think
no, the southeast corner is the student section. I'm pretty sure
right.
southeast.
You're right.
So
I guess they were over there at some point.
Yeah, I can't think of. I don't know what happened to it. Then we'll do some research.
South side of the stadium. I guess southwest of the stadium would.
Yeah, maybe that's what he's talking about.
Would be where they are now, like where Design Building is in Wallace and the arena. I don't know. I'm gonna do some research on it.
There you go. We'll do some of that. Austin, thank you for hanging out with us tonight.
Thanks, everybody. War Eagle. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, War Eagle, man.
Bye.
All right, I'm going to hang out for just a few more minutes. If you've got other comments or questions, things we did or didn't cover on the show that you'd like to just have a few minutes with me about, we can do that. I don't have a set time limit, but if we can be out of here in about 10 minutes or so, that'd be great. But if we're having great conversation, I'm always up for staying around. Thank you guys so much for the kind words. We do hope that you appreciate that. Listen, I know that this show is not probably exactly what everybody has in mind when they think about Auburn podcasts, but we're trying to develop something and build something here at the E2C Network that is a little bit different, that gives you a well-rounded experience. And this is what this show is all about, is not just for here on YouTube for the recordings, but on the podcast, everything, just giving you the full spectrum of everything. So I appreciate you guys' kind word about it. Yeah, I'll extend that that you said that to him. Let's see here. When I went to school, it was over by the student parking. Well, I don't know when that is, WT, so that's probably beyond my time. Can't wait to see the volleyball team play on Friday. Now, they did just take an L today, which was, unfortunately, it seems like the last 2 times I've been able to actually tune into the game, they've lost. So I guess I need to apologize again for them, but at least we haven't like jinxed them on the show officially. Yes. And that was, here's the trouble about doing a show like this is we try real hard to keep a topic or two in there that we know everybody is interested in, but to give you something a little bit different. So probably the Austin discussion about his, excitement of being a father now is something that kind of fits into that kind of the off the wall topic. But we got to find a way to talk more about some of these other things like gymnastics recruiting. I don't know how you talk about gymnastics recruiting because they claim, you see these articles written about them. They claim they're 4 stars. I'm like, well, who's rating those? I know someone is, and someone's certified or uh, qualified to make those assessments, but it's just weird. You guys know me. You've been here for quite some. I'm not a big fan of the star ratings just because they're wrong a lot of the time. And yeah, so, but it's good to see us getting big names out there that everybody wants for gymnastics, especially when you've got names like Suni Lee, Darian Goborn here right now, and many more. Sophia Grow. Gosh, I'm blanking on so many of their other names, and I'm so sorry for that. Excuse me. Sorry about that. It's where the original Mama Goldbergs was located. I thought I was going to the original Mama Goldbergs. That's still there, right? Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, tell a friend, invite them here. That's the best way you can do it. It's really interesting. I'll be a little bit candid with you guys about the channel and stuff like that. I felt like when we started doing this about a year and a half ago, there was like us and maybe a handful of others that were really kind of taking advantage of the space. And I'm not trying to take credit for the other channels that were here when that time frame I was talking about as well. I'm not speaking for them, but it's almost like some of the bigger players figured out that we were having success over here and decided to come on over, and now they're eating up all the audience. It's not that it's I'm glad everybody's having success. I'm a big advocate for especially people in the Auburn space doing stuff like this, and because I think you can't have enough of it. But it is interesting because now there's so much of a drive here on YouTube now. We could use y'all's help to continue to tell people to come here, subscribe, so we can grow this channel. We know we're pushing 3,000 subscribers. We're a bit of a ways from it, but would love to hit that sooner rather than later. I wish the swim teams would return to being dominant. Well, I think you are starting to see the beginning phases of that happening with Ryan. Oh, gosh, I'm going to mispronounce it. Coach Ryan Woe. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to have to go practice it before I do it again. But the new coach, who's a former Auburn swimmer, I'm a big proponent of having Auburn people in your coaching positions. And that doesn't mean that someone can't become an Auburn person. It's happened before. It'll happen again. It feels right when there's an Auburn person in that position. And I think we got one again. Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. That's the goal here. We don't want to, even though people want to label me as a sunshine pumper and many of us that contribute to the channel, I will accept that because why wouldn't you, as opposed to being the opposite? But we try to give you a positive spin as opposed to the typical, oh, Auburn sucks. Why do I want to be an Auburn fan? all that kind of stuff. It's annoying. It's overplayed. It's overdone. It's just done to get a reaction. I'm just done with it. I really am. That's me. And you don't have to be that way if you don't want to, but I promise you, I'm probably happier than you are. Ooh, did I say that? Ooh. At least I'll come off as happier than that. All right. I'll maybe take a few more comments and questions if you guys have them. A couple reminders for you. We will have a live stream tomorrow. I'll pull this up real quick. Our Ole Miss grades show with, I got to remember to take this little banner down when we're doing this because we're not recording right now. Come back, Kyle. Get your act together. Yes, the live stream tomorrow for the Ole Miss game, grading it out with Benjamin King. As far as I know, he'll be here. We will confirm that tomorrow, but we'll do the show regardless, 8 p.m. Don't miss it. Invite a friend. Talking about growing our little family in the Auburn family. Don't miss that tomorrow. Doing that live show Wednesday. Obviously, bye week, you're not going to have a preview show, things like that, but I would definitely stay tuned because you never know. To be honest with you guys, the trend from what you're seeing and on social media, blogs, sources, it seems like Brian Harsin is good for this week, for the bye week to Arkansas. And this is my inclination, and we kind of talked about it at the very top of the show. Outside of an absolutely horrendous falling apart, I feel like he will finish the season. And that is just a pure speculation. And I could be 100% wrong on that. So my feeling is the next big news, hopefully this week or the next we're going to be getting, is the confirmation of a lot of people's suspicion about who the AD is going to be. So I'm going to try to start getting ready for that. And just kind of refocusing for the last half of the football season. Enjoy it. It's almost over with. We are 7 weeks into the season and it's almost over with. God, that's so sad to think about. How do coaches even recruit for swim teams? Not like they're having swim meets in high school. Yeah, they are. Corey, there's tons of high school swim teams. I went to a school where there was a swim team for 1 year, and I went to a smaller school after that for other reasons. But yeah, I mean, that happens a lot, and they compete. It's kind of a lot like probably gymnastics is similar for this too, where there are club level competitions or they compete on the national stage for their age group, and that's where they get noticed a lot. So they announce from time to time, and I think gymnastics doing a better job of reporting this out is a really good thing. I would like to see some of these other programs make a bigger deal about their recruits they're bringing in, because we'd love to celebrate them. I mean, we've gotten huge feedback from just obviously sharing the news out about the 2 gymnastics recruits this week. And you saw the response to it. So I think people would get just as excited about that if we'd have a bigger thing made about that. Nor should you apologize. Listen, don't change. Don't worry about changing. Auburn fans are the best, even at their worst. And I mean that. Harsin will be our coach till the season ends. There's no one on the staff who can step in. There are some. I don't know if it would be the right move, but I think there are some. I don't see the benefit in getting rid of a coach, no matter how angry you are with him right now, outside of it's going to change something. Let them see if they can figure it out. If they can, a lot of people are going to have to swallow their pride and swallow some of their tweets. And if you're not, you're just being petty, because that means you'd rather be right about all the angst that you put online rather than Auburn succeeding. That's probably not going to happen, but you might have to. Brother graduated from Auburn this year about 2 months ago from aerospace. Awesome. Another one that's officially got that degree. It's an awesome thing to have. Listen, he might. The trend right now would probably tell you no, but listen, he survived for now. Awesome. All right, so without getting further into that mess right now, well, there'll be plenty of time this week, the next week, to talk about that. I appreciate you guys so much for being here with me, with Austin, right at an hour on the show. Thank you guys for coming to the live recording of this. I hope you enjoy it here. Tell a friend when we share it out as a podcast tomorrow to check that out. It would mean the world to us if you'd help share that out to continue growing our little family within the Auburn family, because you guys are the best little family within the Auburn family. Thank you very much for being here. Until we talk to you guys again, War Eagle.